Eagles win it! Wow!
Oh, man, and being just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles! Let me get a hell yeah!
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Dabs, Mr. Crackpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. Before we get rolling, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Today, we've got a super special guest today, a guy who some say might be the busiest and most versatile man in Philly sports radio. He is the co-host of the morning show at 97.5 The Fanatic. Follow him on Twitter at J.E. Lynch Jr. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the bro. Jamie Lynch, what's going on, man?
What's up, guys? Good to be back with you. It's been a while. A lot to catch up on, unfortunately. Most of it not good.
Today, we are doing our Carson Wentz trade reaction show. The trade hasn't gone down, but it seems like any moment between today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see. We're just going to kind of go do an overview of what it means moving forward for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's start off, man. From Adam Schefter to the great Natalie Eganoff, we're hearing that Carson Wentz could be moved at any moment here. Jamie, what is your opinion? What is a fair value trade for Carson Wentz? Do you think it's a good idea to move on from Carson Wentz? Go ahead, man.
I think at this point, unfortunately, your hand is forced. He clearly wants out of here from everything I've heard from some people in the know. You know, he doesn't have to speak to request a trade. That's happened. It's hard to get somebody back once that happens. So if he doesn't want to be here, you can't force it. Same with Deshaun Watson. If the Texans know he's not going to give it his all and he wants out, why force it? So at this point, I think the marriage is over. In my mind, he's already been traded. And now we just got to fill in the blanks of which team and what value is. And to be honest with you, it's sad to say this, 3 years removed from thinking we were on the verge of a dynasty, that I think a first-round pick is fair. And I think it's probably going to be 1 first and a player of some sort. I think they're asking for 2 firsts as a minimum, and I think they're drunk if they think they're going to get that. So I'd be happy at this point with 1 first-round pick back. Hopefully this year's, if you're Chicago and you're Ryan Pace, you probably want to try and kick that can down the road a little bit and give next year's pick. But I'd love to get this rebuild started ASAP. So I hope it's this year's first-round pick from whoever.
So, Jamie, and if you can't hear me, let me know. I'm in a very shoddy internet area myself here these days.
No, you sound good.
All right. If the Eagles do, in fact, get a first-round pick in the deal, and you've heard the reports, and I'm sick thinking about the idea of Nick Foles being included in the trade. No disrespect to Nick Foles. I just can't go back down that bad.
Yeah.
How do you expect – you know the fans. You talk to them every morning, and you know social media. What's the reaction if the Eagles get a first-round pick? And then what's the reaction if, say, BDN is on his way back?
Well, it's interesting because if you're Ryan Pace, you can't have both. So you're almost including Nick Foles as like, please just do me this favor and take this off my hands because I can't have a locker room with Carson and Nick again. I can't relive those errors that the Eagles made. So if you're the Bears, you desperately want to get rid of them if you're making that trade. If you're the Eagles, look, this is where the fans do affect decisions because if you just looked at it on paper, if you're running with Jalen Hurts next year, which looks like the likely scenario, you need a decent veteran backup quarterback. And on paper, if you could remove the fans and the sports radio callers and Eagles Twitter from it, Nick Foles would be ideal. I mean, honestly, a veteran guy that doesn't have a problem being the backup, doesn't have a problem taking that mentorship role and showing Jalen Hurts the way. The problem is then if Jalen Hurts struggles, every hoagie mouth in the tri-state area is going to be going BDN, and that creates, an aura around that locker room, which is unfortunate. You probably can't do it, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't hate it because, like I just said, I think he's a perfect mentor type, and I think Jalen Hurts will beat him out. Like I think at this point in his career, he is what he is. He's occasional lightning in a bottle, but he's a mediocre to bad quarterback. So I don't think he would beat out Jalen Hurts. So like that competition angle doesn't really give me too much concern. It's just the optics of it as the Eagles. It kind of looks like well, we're doing this for the fans. Look, we're bringing back Nick Foles to make you happy. It's almost like a smoke bomb for them. Like, hey, look over here. Look, we brought back BDN. Yet, the house is collapsing behind you. So it's a tough situation. I wouldn't hate it, but I know I'm in the minority.
Jamie, when the deal gets done, what is Carson Wentz's lasting memory in Philadelphia? And
not good.
How will he be remembered by Eagles fans, man?
It's really, really weird. This is unprecedented. You put on top of the fact that it's the largest dead cap penalty in NFL history by $12 million. It's the first year basically of the big deal. This is uncharted waters that they're in, and we're in as fans. Look, I wanted Carson Wentz to give it one more shot and try everything in the world to make it work here, but it appears for whatever reason, and that's the $1 million question, what that reason is, he can't make it work here. Howie appears to be the problem, but whatever, it is what it is. Now you have to move on from him, and the court of public opinion is going to basically say that Wentz more or less derailed this franchise. I mean, leaving them in that cap situation with that dead cap number on the books is unprecedented, and it's going to cripple the franchise for probably 2 to 3 years. It's the NFL, so you can turn things around a little quicker than a lot of people think you can, but it's probably 2 years where you're screwed, and $34 million down the toilet next year. I don't know the exact number, but it's got to be close to 30% of the cap, and I don't know many teams that can flush away 30% of their cap and survive. So unfortunately, I think he's going to be viewed as a baby that forced his way out. And it's unfortunate because he had 4 really good years here. I thought we were on the verge of a dynasty, but it's maybe it's a prisoner of the moment, but this has not played out very well the last 2 months.
Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Jamie, with Wentz now basically gone, as you said, it's clear that we're kind of re-entering a rebuild. They can call it whatever they want. This is a rebuild. And with that, there's a lot of other veterans on this team that may be on the trading block that could be potentially moved here close. Zach Ertz is his name. But is there anybody else that you look at and say, I find it hard-pressed that this guy's going to be here next year?
It's there's a lot of moves to come still. And I think Malik Jackson and Zach Ertz, everybody agrees, is all but gone. Those type of salary hits. Yeah, they're I do wonder a lot about Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. Just because they're still very good players, and they're some of the few players that might actually hold some real value around the league. And with that, they have big cap numbers. And if you have a lot of boulders to move, I wonder what kind of value you could get for them. Not that I want to see either of them move on, but there's just too much. There's too many moves yet to happen where something big is going to happen. And I don't know. I'm not saying that either of them are going to get moved, but I would bet that conversation has happened in the NovaCare.
Reports indicate that Nick Sirianni and the Eagles plan to build around Jalen Hurts this season. Do you think that's the right move? And do you think the Eagles could explore selecting one of these top-notch quarterbacks at number 6 in this year's draft?
It's a great question because you don't take a guy in the second round that you don't think can be the guy. So you have to see it out with Jalen Hurts. Otherwise, you just wasted a second-round pick on a career backup, which is foolish. So you almost have to see Hurts out for the year. Look, it was only 4 games. You can't really make a ruling on any player after 4 games. There was some good things I saw, and there was some concerning things I saw. The second half numbers that Jalen Hurts showed in those 4 games paint the picture of defensive coordinators, figuring him out and changing and taking away his strengths. So that's concerning. But I do think he showed enough to at least kick the tires on him for a season. And, it happens to be a rebuild. So it's kind of the perfect time for it. If there's like a drought on quarterbacks between 2 and 6 and everybody not named Trevor Lawrence is on the board, I think that would change things for them. But I think there's going to be a run on quarterbacks, and I don't think they'll do it at number 6 because that would be irresponsible to spend a second and a first in back-to-back years on a quarterback. But if a Justin Fields is on the board at 6, if a Wilson's on the board at 6 still, who knows? They've done dumber things, so we'll see.
Yeah, they've certainly done dumber things, and that leads me to this. So, say Jalen Hurts turns out to be the long-term starter. He has a good year this year, and it all looks good. I have my opinion on this question, but I'm curious what you think. Does this absolve Howie Roseman from the failures? Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Look, I don't think the Hurts draft pick at the time was done unintentionally. They either viewed him as the insurance plan to Wentz's injury history, or they've had some concerns about Carson Wentz for a while now. It's one of the two things. It does. You don't get. We use this analogy on the morning show. You don't get credit for putting out the fire in the house that you started. And if he corrects this and he puts out the fire and Jalen Hurts is good, you also started the fire by drafting him in the first place and putting your year one contract extended quarterback in a weird situation. That's not to baby him, but it is kind of a weird situation to be in. So you don't get credit for putting out the fire that you started.
Really, at the end of the day, it comes back to Howie Roseman's making the calls here. Even if you get a first-round pick, Jamie, what is your confidence in Howie Roseman this offseason making the right calls for the Eagles? Because that is still the number one issue, correct?
Yes. Howie, I think, is the number one issue with the team, and the fact that Mr. Lurie doesn't recognize that is highly concerning. I think number 6 in the draft is fairly dummy-proof. I think. If they were to get 20 or 21 from the Bears or Colts, that's where I think Howie gets bitten by the smartest man in the room syndrome and tries to outthink him, others and himself. Number 6, look, you're either going to have Sewell, you're either going to have Parsons, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, or Kyle Pitts even. I think it's kind of those 5 options, maybe Surtain. So 6 options. Statistically, probably 2 of those guys are going to be busts. But I really don't see a Chase being a bust. I don't see a Parsons being a bust. I don't see a Pitts being a bust. And I'd be shocked if Devontae Smith was. Sewell has a possibility, and Surtain has a possibility of being a bust. But those 4 guys to me are can't miss. And regardless of the position you need, they need a lot. What they need more than anything is a can't miss guy. And if they get somebody that can contribute, I don't care. I want Jamar Chase more than anything in the world. But if they go Kyle Pitts, I see why. If they go Parsons, I see why. I think those 4 are absolutely can't miss. If they get into the later first and second rounds, I think that's where they get out of their comfort zone of dummy proofed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I wish that I had your faith on the Eagles in the 6th pick.
It's not great
faith. I'm hoping to see that. All right, so let's fast forward. Jalen Hurts is the starter. The Eagles built around them. 2021. Do they win more than 4 games, or are we looking at just another hellacious season?
Yeah, no, I think they will win more than 4. I think they, even in a rebuild, can be a 7-9, 8-8 team. The offensive line is going to get better. Even if Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks aren't 100% of what they've been in the past, they're going to solidify a lot. And the experience a lot of the guys on the line were able to get this year, I think, makes them pretty good backup. So I think all of a sudden you kind of have some decent offensive line depth. Jason Kelsey's a huge question mark. We don't know. But maybe Sayamalu can play center. Maybe Dillard can shift the guard. Those are questions we'll figure out down the line here. But I think offensive line is going to change a lot. I think if you add a Jamar Chase to this wideout core with a Jalen Reagor, with a Greg Ward, and whoever else as a 4th, I think that's all of a sudden pretty exciting. Dallas Goedert's going to have the ability to step into a big role here, and Miles Sanders, you hope, can build on what he's had. So all of a sudden, the offense doesn't look terrible. The question is, what is Jalen Hurts? What does he give you? Defensively, I think they have a lot of question marks. They need another cornerback. They probably need another safety. They need some linebackers because all they have is Alex Singleton, really. And, I think they're at best an 8-8 team.
All right. I just want to say, can't thank you enough, Jamie. It's important to say, Jamie came on here on a very short notice. What a good dude. Jamie, what do you got going on? Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, sure. You should check out the Jonathan Cade Show on the mornings, 6 to 10 a.m. on 97.5. We're we're a little different than most radio shows in this market is used to. We don't beat one topic to death for 4 hours. We like to go kind of scatterbrain ADD around and hit on all the stories and cast a really wide net. So we're having fun. I'm really digging the show. I encourage everyone to check it out. I think we're different, and I think people are going to like it a lot. So I got that going on. I still do the Saturday show with Andrew Salchunas from 3 to 6. And then Friday nights, I do a DraftKings Draft Lines sports betting show with Devon Givens from 6 to 7. So I wear many hats here. I'm having a blast. And these teams never find a shortcoming in giving us stuff to talk about.
No, sir, man. No, sir. Thank you, everybody. Rob, any last comments or anything?
Nah, man, we appreciate it. James, how'd you do with the Super Bowl bets last night? I know I got beat up pretty bad.
I hate myself. So when the championship games ended, I fired in a bunch of KC bets because my gut said KC. The more the 2 weeks went on, the more trends I started to see about Brady and Tampa and this and that. I was literally on air Friday night with Devon saying, I want to caution all you Kansas City bettors. This screams Tampa. And what do? I stick with my Kansas City bets, down with the ship, because I didn't want to beat myself up all offseason about it, because that was my gut. So if Kansas City did cover, I would have hated myself. So I was like, I'm going down with my gut, even though everything else is telling me otherwise. So I lost my shirt last night. So it was a good time. I had a blast. And last time I won't listen to the trends. I'll tell you that.
All right. Thank you, everybody here for watching.
And real quick, I got a guy in the second round to look out for.
Let's go.
Andre Cisco, from Syracuse University, tore his ACL. He was their first preseason All-American since, I believe, Dwight Freeney. Kid's going to be a stud, and they need safety help. That's my guy in the second.
Love it. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Jamie, go follow him on Twitter @Jalen Jr. Follow my man.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Stay awesome, guys.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh, man, and being just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get it.